Awesome. Right. So there's obviously been a lot of conversation, 2-year-old issue we've got here, but I think that it appears that the general consensus or agreement, I haven't looked at the votes yet too, not overly, add another one. The overall consensus is, at the moment, GraphQL, I don't know how I'd explain it. It's almost like a sort of weird layer, and no matter what you send to it, it always responds with a 200 response.
Yeah.
And if there's any issues at all, it explains those issues within the JSON response itself. I hope that what I said is accurate, and maybe I can sort of try and demonstrate that somehow by just sending some nonsense. We'll see. So we'll send a good query, we get something back, we get a 200 status, fine. We invent a field, we try and get that back. Again, we get 200. And the errors are within JSON, which I think is good, right? I think. Yeah. It's the way that it's built. It's how it's supposed to do. The problem comes when we try and so I'm wondering if I can do something like root full path. And let's just do like the ID and the name. So if I do a public group or a group I've got access to, I get that data back. Marco, do you happen to have a private hosted group that you don't mind sharing the name of, or?
Yeah, I think it's private. Try Zille_Marco, like my name and last name.
Yeah, just that?
Yeah. Let me check, because I don't remember if that's public or not.
You might have even given me access at some point in the past for one reason or another.
But with your old account, not with new one.
Okay.
I can make the, where has it?
Good try. Typical.
Okay, it's public. You can try. So my GitLab handle, so ZilleMarco -monitoring.
Yeah, I think that one you have given me access to, but I could leave that group, I think. I don't think I need access to. There's nothing too sensitive if I quickly hop on there and leave it.
Oh, no, don't worry.
Yeah, cool.
I can always revoke.
So this is a really good demonstration, because it shows, with access, this is what happens when I leave the group. Without access, we just get null back. So there's a bit of a challenge that I think we're all aware of here, is we have to be a bit careful, because actually this isn't the problem we're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to expose the fact that this thing exists. You should see the same response regardless of whether it's something that you don't have access to or whether it doesn't exist, which is what we're achieving here. But what would happen, I'm just going to pause my screen share for a second in case Postman. I do like Postman, but can I use something else to craft?
Postman will have a, if you build it in Postman, there's an option to copy it as a curl command.
Yeah, I might be able to. I found curl to be really hard to work with GraphQL. I think, now I could be wrong, there might be different ways of crafting them, but it doesn't use JSON. Oh no, it does use JSON. Okay. I thought it was form encoded, but then it's like this weird thing where the encoding in there is, I could try with curl. maybe if I bring up my Visual Studio and try and work out, so that'll be to gitlab.com/API/GraphQL. And then is it data that I want to? This is where I tend to get a bit. So this is a JSON, so it'll look like query, and then the actual query itself then has query inside of that, and then I could just do like current user and probably like username. Yeah, this is what I was getting the other day, and I'm definitely doing something really dumb. So who wants to call out what I'm doing? That's
Can we
You
see
can't
the screen
see.
now?
sorry.
Can we see the screen now?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Share portion of the screen. So maybe I need the header to say it's JSON, but I don't think so. This is exactly what I was getting. Oh, no, that was exactly it. Awesome. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, so this is one. No, what we need to do, we need to authenticate now, don't we? Now,
Watch out for access tokens.
well, no, I deliberately want to
Use an invalid token.
But you're right, I am going to have to do it with a legitimate one in a minute.
Set an environment variable. And just don't echo it.
So that doesn't tell us that, assuming I have got the syntax correct, it doesn't tell us that there's anything wrong there. Yeah, it doesn't say that this is invalid. Now, what I'm going to try and do, and probably end up cocking it up, but let's give it a go. Never remember what things you need, what type of quotes for, but let's try and find out. I'm gonna pause while I do it just to make sure it doesn't expose it, but I think it should be all good. Started to get the hang of this 1Password CLI.
Very nice.
If you've not used it before, I can recommend it. Awesome. Yeah, that seems to be working. And I'll rely on your honesty to shout if you see something you shouldn't. So yeah, private token with a valid token has returned my username. But if I just make up complete nonsense, clearly something that's invalid or expired or whatever the problem with it is, it doesn't tell me that in any way, shape, or form. There's a bit of discussion around how it should maybe tell you. Maybe there should be an error, top-level error message that's returned, but I think the consensus is that 401 would be good and suitable for you've tried to authenticate, but your authentication has failed, you know, whether that's expired or just, yeah, complete nonsense.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's not an issue with the GraphQL syntax or anything like that. It's above that.
Exactly. So let's close a few windows. I was having a quick poke around, hoping I might get a clue as to where I've got a lot more open than I realized. And I think that this was where I was assuming that these requests come into. And I was just starting to explore what I think happens. So I think that most of the standard controllers, or maybe all the controllers, extend or the application controller. And I think in here we've probably got this authenticate that kind of runs for every single controller. But in here we've got something that says to skip that, and instead we use, this is what I'm unsure about here, whether we use this or whether we use this or whether we use both. So I think maybe digging in to one or both of these, I guess what I could try, I know because I'm not actually using GDK. So that's what I should have done with my carefully crafted tokens. I should have done that on GDK, shouldn't I?
I think those authentications are run both, but on different scenarios. Like,
okay,
there's the first one is only on execute, so maybe only on post or put requests. Not sure, but doesn't no.
But isn't execute the only, like, are there other because GraphQL, from what I understand, you only ever use one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but you could be right that they're both being hit. I guess there's probably a way of us checking that in a minute. Wow, I really haven't used it for a long time. If it doesn't even know my login.
Session expired.
Awesome. Well, it seems to be working. So we can do exactly the same thing I was trying to do a minute ago, but we can sub out that with gk.test3000. And we can get rid of that. So that's what we would expect. And let's create an access token.
Wow, I haven't been on this page for quite a long time.
Yeah, I think it's view now.
Oh, really? Oh.
And it's it's very different, isn't it? Like, just, I don't know, up the ante a notch, or whatever you want to call it, you know. Oh, okay, so we're working. So but the difference, there's absolutely no difference between this with no auth header and the one with an auth that fails. Yeah, perfect. So let's have a look at, so it returns, so this should raise an error.
Yeah, but current user is null.
But then I would expect,
oh, so maybe
a null user to return false for this, interestingly. So let's see if we can, what type of shell do we want to, I mean, shall I just comment that out? See what happens. No, it's not getting there, don't I want to? So should I pop a dash V in there to get the response code? I don't know. There's possibly a better way to.
I think you're still getting a 200 because you get the errors, Jason.
You can return a response with other return codes. 403 we're getting,
Good point.
which matches up with this, I think.
Okay.
Now I'll let you two help me a bit more decide whether that's still right or not. So that seems like, so it's definitely calling that method, but even with a null user, it's returning true.
Go back to the top where those before actions are defined, because it did mention something about must come first. Current user is set up here. So
so we're maybe setting current user to some kind of anonymous thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marco. Build handles personal assistant, item requests. Sessionless sign. But then, yeah, that's a bit confusing, isn't it? This filter handles personal access tokens.
I wonder what the request format is.
API.
Oh, okay.
It was calling find sessionless user.
Web access token.
But it does look, if none of these things are present, then it would return.
Should we try debugging and see what's coming up on current user?
Yes, let's. And that's what I wanted to do a minute ago, and can decide which debug mechanism to whether to try and get this one or just use PriShell. I think PriShell's quicker and easier to get up and running, isn't it? Or
yeah, probably.
So we'll just have a look in here.
Well, if you put it on the
or more low level in like here.
No, you could just move it one line up and then step into the function instead of putting more breakpoints. Yeah.
Oh no, we don't need to do that, do we?
Oh, you don't need that.
No. No, I can't even cards. What? How? Who? Can you remember?
Yeah, that one.
What we need. Oh.
Oh, so this is a different one.
That's the one, isn't it? Ah, I somehow skipped the step. Okay, user is now.
Okay.
Yeah, and now I'm getting into the dirty stack that I'm not really interested in, right? So
I think we were looking at the wrong method before.
yeah. But then so okay, so let's put our binding prior in.
Yeah.
Where was our raise? Wasn't that one, was it? No, or was it render?
Render underscore error.
Wasn't here,
One of
was it?
these.
What
Yeah.
method? I've lost it was this
The
one,
first-
right?
Yeah, that one.
There we go.
You could also try, well, no, because can question mark providing the subject and the policy
Oh, okay.
and current
Obviously.
user.
What's that, sorry?
What's the value of current user?
Neil.
Okay, so that access API must have some condition to allow
Yeah.
new users.
Yeah. So we need to handle probably something intelligent in here that I
Try
mean,
to-
first thing I'm tempted to say is, well, what do each of these do? Like it's tempting to say, well, if it hasn't got a header, there's no point in trying to. But I think some of these headers are different, right? Some of them are they're encoded in multiple ways.
Yeah.
And what we need each of them to do is, if they're not present, then bail out. But if they're present and invalid, then explode. But then the problem is it doesn't know what type of, do you know what I mean? So we can't bail out immediately, like we can't explode. So let's say we try and check if it's a valid dependency proxy token and it isn't. We can't explode at that point, right? Because it might be a valid job token or personal access token. So we almost need to check all of these.
Yeah.
This is going to be a real arse, I think, because of the different ways of authenticating. You know, you can authenticate with a cookie, or you can authenticate with a private token header or a job token header, or
yeah, just out of curiosity, can we have a look at the what was the policy access API?
and yeah, what's your thinking?
I just want to have a look at how that's implemented to allow nil users. Enable.
It's a global policy. Interesting. And default enables access API. Prevent if you're inactive, blocked. I'm not quite sure why, what internal. But yeah, it looks like it's this. My interpretation of this would be globally enabled by default.
Hmm.
But I think this is more where we need to.
Yeah, we should.
Maybe we could do to start with one almost and say something like, if after all of this, like I'd be happy if we just started by supporting private token and then we could improve it maybe further with job token and other things, or
Yeah, but how would you do it? Like raise
basically check
exception?
if the user's still nil after after everything. Where we do it is open to interpretation. You know, I'd actually be happy to do it in, I would, but
I mean-
that's probably the wrong place to do it.
I think the best place would be maybe not the best, but the safest place would be
In
on
here.
QI controller.
Yeah. So in here we say something like user. How we grab the header is anybody's guess,
But at that point, do we really care about the header? Like the only way you have to be authorized from the API is providing a token via the header.
no, there's lots of different ways. You can put it in. You put it in
because you can also use the URL to provide
query string. You can, and the header can be. There's lots of different ways you can provide the header. I think. You can use basic auth, which isn't the header, or no, it's not the header as far as I know. It's in the URL. It's you know, there's so many different ways.
Yes, and we cannot always return the error where the current user is nil because for
Anonymous ones.
yeah.
So let's find out how we can access the header.
Yeah, that I was going to ask you, can you access token?
I'm sure we must be able to, right? Unless it's stripped out as part of the. So we got response headers.
Maybe you have request.
Maybe in here there's something that we can sort of see.
API request. How is that implemented?
Which one? Sorry.
API request question mark. Current request part starts with. Oh, okay.
There might actually be something in here to private token. See, this is even weirder because private token, that's not the that's not it, is it?
Yeah. Well, you could even try and search for private dash token and see if the where's that's used, but yeah.
I wonder if it converts the hash to an underscore. Yes.
Okay.
There's something you learn something new every day. So actually, and I don't think they're case sensitive either.
Yeah, probably.
So I think this is, I don't quite understand the header bit. So let's see what this current request dot params dot press access to. Okay. Yeah, so we if we want to make it really exhaustive, we might have to check through.
Do we have access to these outfinder methods?
I guess we'll find out in a minute.
Yeah.
The fact that it's included in request authenticator and we've got access to request authenticator.
Maybe on the base class.
Yeah, it was application control, which I've closed now. Where's it gone? I'm sure we saw it somewhere. Oh, it's in here. Sessionless authentication.
Yeah, and you have sessionless authentication on the base class.
Okay, perfect. So we've got access to request authenticator.
Yeah.
Dot. And that includes them. God blimey. So let's just run the anonymous one again. Yeah, that should hit my. Did I remove my binding prior? Must have removed it.
Authenticate.
It's not authenticate, is it? Every time authorize, I think it is. Yeah, it's authorized. Right. So this is where we want our. We know this is complete nonsense, so let's just remove that for a minute. Yeah, if I can just call. It looks like both of these are acceptable, maybe. HTTP private token as well as private token. Fair.
Probably.
But yeah, in which case, if this is quite a good library that we can just sort of say,
Token provided, like.
yeah, exactly. But now if there's already an overarching method, like this one looks quite good.
Yeah, I think that's probably a catch-all.
So it seems to, but I'm not quite sure what this thing is. Where does...
I also
Right.
wonder where job access tokens are handled.
Yeah, I'm not sure if all those things are right. So in here, we wanted to try request authenticator dot something like that. What's it complaining?
Find
I'll
the user
find
from
that.
access. Oh, is it private?
See if this is found, I guess. Yes. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what have we got in here? We've got a validate access token.
There was also the generic access token method.
That was far down as well, though, right?
Okay.
I think. I like the idea, like we say, just in.
Oh, there's the job token.
All of them are trying to do, like, I presume are they actually validating or not? Like these are like the ones.
As basic credentials.
That looks like quite a good one. Lots of them are using has basic credentials.
Yeah.
And we've got, a bunch of
user from bearer token. Oh boy, how many different tokens like we can use.
Yeah, but again, maybe I should just step back and keep it simple. So before our private, where's our private? So we'll do def authentication tempted because I don't want to call it header present. Something like that.
Yes.
Are they all? You always call it a token. So, but we'll start with just being. What was it called? What did I try? Find personal access token. I guess it'd be.
Is it present?
Or
Empty?
it's not empty, is it? That's why I think present might be the.
Yeah, I like the
What could you do?
authentication present. The token bit, I'm not too sure because can we use something other than a token?
Just try some Ruby real quick. So nil.present false. Blank string.present false. Nonsense.present true. I think present will work.
Yeah, probably.
If I could spell it.
Yep.
So let's start with that. So need to exit this. So no header there. I need to. Work. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to call it from the prompt for now. I think from the shell.
If that works.
So we're thinking that we should be able to access Quest Authenticator dot. Was it authentication token present?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. So that's correct. So now if we do a nonsense one. And then we can just add, or we can either do it with the basic and then someone can raise a follow-up MR if they want to add other potential to check for job tokens and deployer tokens and session cookies and
yes, because I would love to have some feedback from the authentication gurus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So the method find personal access token is actually returning an unauthorized error.
It should be because they use.
Oh yeah, because that's a try catch and a rescue returning nil. So
where's that? Sorry.
On the outfinder.
Yeah.
Where that find a person. Oh, maybe it's on the sessionless authentication actually.
No, we're not calling a method in here though, are we?
Try to look for the other what's called find person access to.
Well, that's here.
Yeah, where was it used? I remember seeing rescue something.
Here we go. This is it. It's not rescue, it's or. So if it doesn't find anything, then it raises this.
Yes, my other.
But we must be catching
that's
that
what
somewhere, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And I think that's inside request authenticator or sessionless authentication, one of those two.
But then this method is private. So the only public method
good point.
is access. So no, that's not public either. Okay, here's validate access token. That's where our catches are.
Hmm. Try to go from the other side, like GraphQL controller is calling, I don't remember what authentication method.
Well, GraphQL controller was calling authenticate sessionless user, wasn't it? Which then was calling find sessionless user,
Okay,
which was then calling
this and has
all
a,
of these different ones.
and this one has a rescue returning nil. So
Yes.
find valid, find user from personal access token for API or Git. No, that's on, yeah.
And then that does find user from personal access token.
Oh, there's a validation, but then the first one that has a token, and that's an invalid token, that's going to raise the exception.
Yeah, if we remove the exception, so I don't think we should remove. I don't think we should remove any exception handling, if that makes sense. I think we need to do our own. I think it's going to be a lot harder to try and modify all the existing methods to say.
I actually think that if we make that method public, not defined user from personal access token, the okay, the one calling, yeah, go there. That
This
one,
one?
find sessionless user, because the first one of those that's going to find a personal access token and that token is invalid is going to throw an exception. So we could do the same, like instead of
But that's bad because if it's a job token, then it's going to fail.
no,
Oh.
because it's not going to find the job underscore token on the header.
No, because you can pass a job token in the private token field, I think, and vice versa. I think they're in.
Yes, but as soon as you provide a valid token key, like personal access token in the header or somewhere else,
Yeah.
that token is not valid, is going to raise the exception because you didn't have the token before and it didn't throw the exception. It returned the nil. As soon as you provided an invalid token, it tried everyone, but you didn't provide the key, the right key. But as soon as you provided the personal access token key with an invalid token,
I think I see what you're saying. So you're saying present. Where was our method? Authentication. Okay, present. Yeah. So instead, if we did
we could do basically remove this one and do everything on the request authenticator. If we like, yeah, we could call all those methods again and return false or true if the token was there.
So the reason I think that's not going to work is because the error that was thrown was a GitLab unauthorized error. Or do you reckon that extends this? Because they're not the same error. So let's find this. Where would it be defined in GitLab auth? Any idea?
No, I don't really have any idea.
I mean, maybe I can. Can I do? How to find out if that is. If one of them extends.
I think you can use the is_a.
Yes. False. So that wouldn't actually, this isn't the try catch. This isn't the rescue that's catching. I think inside of here, so that then called that, which then called that.
Oh, return unless access token.
But then that does raise your.
Yeah, but if it doesn't have an access token, that's going to return immediately without even.
Which is what we want, right?
Yeah. So we could just make the access token method public. That's basically checking if there's any access token.
I'm trying to work out if we even need to, because we've included this. And I can't remember, when you include something, do you get access to its private? No, you probably don't, do you?
I don't think you get access to the private stuff.
See, the thing that I'm a bit, so that's an OAuth access token, a personal access token, whatever this is that I've never heard. What I'm basically trying to figure out is, what does this include and what doesn't this include?
Then try to look at the method checking the job access token, for example, and let's see if that's calling access token.
Doesn't, does it?
Find user or basic auth job if root authentication job token allowed. Oh, this is not calling that.
No, I think let's start really simple, really basic, and just do what we were doing, which were, well, did it? Where did we get to? Let's go present. So this was exploding, right?
Yeah.
Which was that one. And that was because that's actually trying to
Find by token.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, that is more direct what we want to do.
Okay, so it would be also kind of easier because we just need to provide all the different tokens that we want to.
Exactly. And I agree with probably some drying up somewhere that we could maybe call this method where we call these. And vice versa. I don't know what the difference between presence and present is.
Maybe there are synonyms. Namely, the both present and detect empty strings with straightforward check does not define. They're the same. Oh,
right. Turns out the second. It returns
the object.
The object. which makes sense in the context of where they're doing it down below, but we don't want the actual tokens. That's fine. Awesome. Right, we're there. True. Perfect. So now we can go further, and in here we can call that method, right?
Yep.
So should I remove my shell for a minute? Excuse me. So we pass an invalid token. I wish I knew how to get the error code.
Look that up.
It's in here somewhere, wasn't it? 403, here we go. Forbidden. Right, so that's forbidden when we do that. If we do a valid one, it's all good. And if we exclude, ignore it entirely, it's, yeah, that's pretty much all we want, right?
And
But do we want to change it to a 401? Is what we seem to be. I don't know if it's no, unauthorized.
unauthorized.
And then decide if we want to add a bunch of other token types as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Legit token. Good. And then funky token.
And the the status code is correct.
Dash V into the 401. So the only thing that we need to decide is APIs. Yeah, so that message we need to change. So something like token invalid.
Or invalid token provided, but yeah,
Let the docs TWs get that.
yeah.
Cool. I like it.
And we can
should we add a
extend-
few more token types?
we could do private token, private access token. Group and project access tokens.
You just provide them as private in the private token header though.
True. Then job access tokens. Then deploy. Are they using private token as well?
So job token. So we've got job token, run a job token header. Yeah, definitely think that it might be a good idea to, I know, because it's using presence again, so we can't really reuse. That's annoying. I was thinking we could dry this up and.
Yeah.
Right, so. I'm also wondering, can we do something clever like.
Like
to give me this.
Tokens to check.
Yeah, because we've got yeah, you know what I mean. We may as well just pass it an array, right?
True. You would just need to check two arrays, one for the params and one for the environment.
I think you're gonna have to put a breakpoint in here unless you're super smart.
Does it have an any method to check if there's any present? Let me check.
Yes, you can use any. But I'm just wondering if it'd be easier. Let's have a look. So we could do something like. Oh no, because we got arrays of arrays. So we've then got we're going for each. So we want to do it the other way around, don't we? It is to check. Any. Header. And then
I think it's just K question mark.
True.
That's all you need.
Good point.
what's that? Sorry.
Replace any with K and then put the K in that you're looking for.
No.
Oh wait, no, that's not
It's
gonna work.
because we got an array on both
Yeah.
sides. That's why I think this might be the best way to do this. Doesn't it do like an intersection of the two? And if anything's returned,
Go with that. This is my first time with Ruby.
let's try. I'm going to put my binding in. Always easiest to try. In fact, I could even do an IRB, couldn't I, for this one? So what's
But
that?
I probably, yeah, but I guess that your way with the E should work.
Returns an empty array. So I don't know if I need to like. How do I say it's not empty?
Call empty and negate the call.
That sucks. We'll ask ChatGPT in a minute. I guarantee he'll be able to answer this. In fact, I should have started with that in the first place. I'm going to do that now in a different window, just in case I've got some interesting past with ChatGPT.
Oh, maybe present. Oh, no, present undefined metaphor array.
Oh, it is saying any or include. Let's see how it. Yeah, yeah, nice and simple. Definitely overcomplicating that. Right, so here was its example. So it's basically saying headers to check dot any header, and then that params. I don't know the exact terminology, like if it's something like that.
And that's also easier because it's kind of.
It's not that double, triple negation sort of thing going on. It's probably
Yeah, but
completely
it's-
wrong, but
Yeah, but it's also probably faster because you iterate only on a really smaller subset.
yes. Right. Okay. So
Oh, you have an or left over.
I do. Good spot. Thank you. Probably writing tests would be the next. I don't know how we're doing for time. Oh, we're getting very close. Writing tests would make this easier, especially. Yeah, because we keep sort of in and out of the debugging. Just writing test case would definitely be a nice way. But let's do a quick. So what did we have? With a dodgy one. Oh, what did I do? I've probably just a syntactical error, probably a missing comma or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Still not happy. Soon. Is it getting annoyed about that?
Method missing.
Cool. We've hit it. So, first thing I want to check is whether this is valid. Yeah.
Ooh. Well, no, that should work.
I think so. It should have returned true, should it not?
No, because there's no one of those tokens inside of the keys.
But we've got private token there.
There shouldn't be private token param.
But you don't have the private token inside of the param keys.
Interesting. But this was working a minute ago, wasn't it?
Try to print all the params, not only the keys.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, good point.
How?
You definitely sent the private token in the last call request in.
I've stuffed something up. Let's have a look. It's going to be really something stupid.
Try the environment. Oh,
I
Okay,
don't quite know how it's being put there, but fine.
okay.
So this one should return true then.
Yeah, if you get all the, you missed the last bracket.
Thank you. Okay.
False? Oh,
Ah. Beautiful. Right, so wonky token. $401, token
Token.
invalid. Legit token. Happy. No token. Happy. Awesome.
Good.
I'll try knocking up a quick test or two. And then see how much the Orth team hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a simple fix. Like I'm always happy with these ones to dive in and spend an hour or two on it. You know, if it's no good for some reason or another, it's not too upsetting, right?
Yeah.
If you do fancy later in the week, maybe we could have a look at that. Whatever it's called, firstissue.dev or whatever, something along those lines. Essentially, it's if we can do it, it will mean that people who are participating in Hacktoberfest are more likely to pick up issues in GitLab. Not necessarily GitLab the project, but GitLab the platform.
Yep.
So yeah, if you fancy it later in the week, we could have a stab.
Yeah, you know that at lunchtime I'm available.
Awesome. Likewise, Tilly, if there's anything you want to pick up at any point, feel free, because we really appreciate you helping us with our problems. So vice versa, we're always happy to. Although you're in Golang world at the moment, if you're picking up that issue that you mentioned earlier, and I'm not overly comfortable there, but definitely an area I'm interested in focusing. So
Yeah, no, it's funny. I'm the complete opposite here. I've never looked at Ruby before, and I'm very happy in the Go world.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we can make a good team going forwards then.
Yep.
Awesome. Have a
Sounds
great
good.
day, everyone.
Likewise.
Cheers.